0830 hours, May 31st, 1862. Hill's Division Headquarters, Hampstead. Major General Daniel H. Hill, O.C. of Hill's Division, Army of the Confederacy, had called an urgent meeting with his senior commanders based in and around Hampstead. Brigadier General Sam Garland and all his regimental commanders were now present. Men all stood in a semicircle facing the map of the choked peninsula tacked to the wall. Major General Hill stood beside the map. "Gentlemen, at about 0400 this morning, telegraph lines north out of the peninsula were cut. Initially, the telegraphists thought it was just a fault of the eastern lines that tried to route it via Peytonville. The telegraph office there was unable to transmit north along the western line." General Hill paused, then smiled. "The enemy now considers us cut off from the rest of Virginia. However, they don't know about the Arrowhead Express, so we can still contact the mainland if somewhat slower." The so-called Arrowhead Express was a small cutter based at the tiny port of Easington, located in the southwest corner of the peninsula. It was a quick journey of 6 or 7 miles to the Virginia mainland, across the Arrowhead Sound to the port of Wickham. General Hill turned to face the map. "The 6th Alabama are currently watching and reporting the southward movement of the enemy along the East Road. The latest message from Bourne is that the enemy brigade consists of 2 regiments of cavalry, 3 regiments of infantry." He stopped and turned to face the other men in the room. "I doubt that this is all we will have to face. So far, no mention of any artillery or guns. This is not just a reconnaissance in force, then I believe it to be an all-out invasion." The gathered officers nodded all in agreement. "What of the 6th Alabama, sir?" asked Brigadier General Sam Garland. "We've not yet had any word since the initial report some 30 minutes ago. However, they hold a strong position atop the heights. Difficult assault of the enemy to make it, even if only part of the battalion is in a position on the eastern side to face them. At worst, they can pull back westward and try to make for Peytonville, assuming the enemy is not at the moment marching down the west road, though the report did mention that no enemy had been sighted there." Knock on the door, and a young lieutenant hurried into the room, clutching a telegraph flimsily. "Another report from the 6th Alabama, sir." "Read it aloud, if you will, please, Lieutenant." The lieutenant cleared his throat and began. "From Colonel Harper, O.C. 6th Alabama, to Major General Hill. Information, all military units on the choked peninsula. I can now confirm that 2 brigades of the enemy are moving south along the east road. They are currently only 4 miles north of Bourne. Myself and Major Gustus have observed 2 cavalry regiments, 1 artillery battery, and 6 regiments of infantry, plus supply. However, they are all coming, so as yet cannot give full strength report on the enemy, but it seems a division is on the march. I have 2/3 of my regiment in a good defensive position on the east and south side of Choke Heights. The enemy have deployed a single battalion of infantry in skirmish order, who have climbed the lower slopes, but so far have not yet come within musket range. Rest of the enemy force has not stopped. Still no enemy movement on the west road. Will continue to observe and report, though it will be via the office in Peytonville, as I have ordered the telegraphist to destroy his equipment and evacuate on completion of sending this message, as I believe the enemy will be in that town within 2 hours. Regards, Colonel A. Harper, 6th Alabama, Hill's Division, Army of the Confederacy." "Thank you, Lieutenant," said General Hill. "What do you make of it, Sam?" Brigadier General Garland stared at the map and took pause and was silent for a moment. "It would seem a full enemy division is indeed on the east road. They appear unconcerned with the fact that the 6th Alabama are on top of those choke heights, are making no attempt to storm it, merely holding tight. The remainder of the force has not lost a step and seems hell-bent on reaching Bourne." Sam Garland moved closer to the map before continuing. No enemy troops on the road, just a single strike into the peninsula, and we still don't know the exact strength of that force. Major General Hill knew it had been a good idea to ask Sam what he thought and wondered if it was the same conclusion he came up with himself. "What do you suggest I do, Sam? Order all our forces to move toward the northeast, halt the enemy?" Sam knew Danny Hill well and respected him. He also knew what his divisional commander was up to in this meeting, with all the regimental commanders present. It was no less than a demonstration of how to lead and make decisions. He smiled at the general. "No, sir, I don't believe we should do that for a number of reasons." Now it was time for Dan Hill to smile. "Please enlighten us, if you will, Brigadier." Sam pointed to Bourne on the map. "Town is already lost. Little we can do about that." His finger traced down the road to the Crow River, the bridge that crossed it. "Without a long and difficult detour, the enemy must cross this bridge. 12th Mississippi are covering that bridge, but have no artillery support. I would suggest that Brigadier General Rhodes, along with the 5th Alabama and 4th Virginia Battery, move quickly from Stockton to that bridge. They have enough time to reach it before the enemy." His finger moved along the Peytonville to Stockton road. "I would also order Weiss's Legion cavalry to support them as well. I believe that force will be enough to make the enemy pause and take thought on what they're going to do next." "Excellent, Sam," said Dan Hill. "You would not rush everything we have to the Crow River. You will, of course, explain why." Sam looked at the confused faces in his regimental commanders before answering. "Certainly, sir. I do believe the enemy will indeed make an assault down the west road, maybe later today, tomorrow, sometime after that. But it will come." "Reasons, Sam?" Dan Hill was enjoying this little exchange. "Firstly, the enemy is simply containing the 6th Alabama, not trying to remove them from the heights. They are quite happy for us to know the strength and makeup of the attack force. They know full well that messages will be sent to telegraph regular reports. Why? It is my belief that they want exactly that, draw our forces to that location in the northeast. Then, when we're out of position and possibly engaged with the enemy, another enemy force will move unopposed down the west road. This is simply a decoy. A damn large decoy, but that is exactly what I believe it to be, sir. And this is why they are hiding nothing. They want us to take the bait."
The northern end of the peninsula, showing the positions at 0930 hours, May 31st, 1862. The 6th Alabama is still in position on the east, south and west of the Choke Heights. 18th New York Infantry are on the lower slopes. The Union 1st Division is continuing its march south along the East Road. Brigadier General Robert Rhodes, commanding Rhodes Brigade, 5th Alabama and the 4th Virginia Infantry Battery are making their way to the Crow Bridge. I forgot to show Wise's Legion Cavalry on the map, but they are also making for the Crow Bridge. The Flying Cavalry Brigade has been ordered to move north along the West Road to give assistance to the 6th Alabama if required, and also to maintain a watch on the road. In the centre of the peninsula, Anderson's brigade remains at Clanfield, in an excellent position to move as and where required. Finally, at the southern end, Garland's brigade also remains at its camp at Hampstead. It too can quickly move to cover the bridges over the Owl and Charles rivers. 1st Division of 4th Corps marching south through the town of Bourne. Brigadier General Slocum had assured the townsfolk that the army would be merely passing through and there would be no pillaging or looting by his men. The people stayed indoors and peered through the windows as the Yankee column rumbled by. On the Peytonville to Stockton road, Wise's Legion cavalry headed east before turning north to reinforce Crow Bridge. The cavalry would support 12th Mississippi, currently holding the bridge. Looking down on Wise's Legion cavalry from the low slopes on the southern edge of Choke Heights. Also on the move from Stockton is Brigadier General Rhodes and the 5th Alabama. Skirting the north edge of the inlet, they too are making for Crow Bridge. General Rhodes will take command of most of his brigade at the bridge. Further to the west, the Flying Cavalry Brigade is leaving Peytonville and heading north along the West Road. With the waters of Arrowhead Sam to their left, they are to offer assistance to 6th Alabama, currently holding Choke Heights, as well as covering the West Road into the Peninsula. Looking down from the steep western slopes of the Choke Heights, Peytonville is left behind as the Flying Cavalry Brigade moves north.